And we have returned. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann, and we're visiting with Roger Simmermaker. He's in the. Your book will be out after the 1st of January, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what month, but one of the first few months in the new year.
And we'll definitely get you back on, and we'll talk about it and see if we can't sell a few of those books. I think they're going to be of great interest to the listeners, especially with all that history. I mean, you can't deny history, although they're trying to do that in this nation, knocking over monuments and everything. But you can't deny history. And we need to learn from it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have to learn from our history. And so I'm proud of you for doing this book. I think this is an awesome idea. When we were going into the break, I was talking about the inflation, and it's really a hidden tax. I've heard so many people that are economists that have said that before. And we are still dealing with the feds and their manipulation of interest rates to try and keep things stable. That's a topic for another show altogether, but you mentioned the income tax. We didn't have income tax back. That's been a little over 100 years ago now, that income tax in the feds. It wasn't an accident that happened in the same year. It wasn't an accident at all. And we've been struggling with some things ever since then. And then when they took away the gold standard of the dollar, we have a lot more problems with inflation and the decline of the worth of the dollar, and that's also another. But it all ties together with the tariffs and the trade issues, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, and people think it's maybe if you vote on trade primarily that you're a one-issue voter. Well, you are not. You're encompassing everything, because if you don't protect domestic manufacturing with tariffs or quotas or what have you, some kind of a trade restriction, which is completely constitutional, then what you do is you lay off American workers, right? American workers are the only workers that pay taxes to the U.S. Treasury.
That's right.
Workers in Cambodia, Indonesia, they don't pay any taxes to America. They don't pay for national defense. They don't pay for police and fire protection. They don't pay for education. They don't fund Social Security. So if you're not going to protect American workers and keep them employed, and you lay them off, then you're, of course, draining the tax rolls because they're sitting in unemployment lines or standing in unemployment lines. And then you look around and say, oh, my gosh, now we don't have enough money for Social Security. Now we're paying $300 million of interest on the debt every year. Now we're paying all this money because we're short of funds. If we didn't intentionally lay off American workers, we wouldn't have this kind of a problem for just the glory of having a free trade policy. That's not worth it at all.
And
if we're going to fund the government, we have to protect American workers.
I'm going to throw this out there, too. When we have illegal aliens in here with the jobs, they're not paying income tax either. They're not paying taxes.
Thing, whether you, whether you have them whatever side of the border, right?
Absolutely. It doesn't, and so that's that's a topic for another day, but that it all goes hand in hand. It all has to do with our jobs and our trade and the value of our own industries and manufacturing. And I don't buy into the fact that they say Americans won't do the jobs. There's some of them we don't know how to do because we haven't been led that direction. I mean, we send kids to college to learn everything except what they should learn, what they need to learn to survive in the world.
Well, there are things that people won't do at $7 an hour, but there are things they will do at $15 an hour. And I'm willing to pay more to have someone do it, in the USA, and somebody paying their taxes and contributing to the society, and on and on. So, and it goes back to the Constitution, too. It says that all laws shall be applied equally and uniformly. I don't think anybody would suggest that we should apply laws unequally, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, now there are those in D.C. that would say that.
Yeah, well, okay, there's always somebody, right? But, if we're going to have equal protection of the laws in the United States, you can't have one set of laws in the United States and another set of laws in Mexico and another set of laws in, pick your country. Everything should be applied equally. Trade is the only competitive activity in the world where we don't all play by the same rules. Baseball game, basketball game, everybody gets, 3 outs, 4 balls, 3 strikes, whatever. Everybody plays by the same rules, but not in trade. If we want to, have a producer in America, we tax them a couple of dollars of production cost burdens, where Mexico may only have to ante up a couple of pesos. It's kind of like sitting at a poker table. If you want to sit at the poker table and share in the pot, you have to ante up just like everybody
Equally.
else. You can't have one guy, right, I'm going to put in a couple pesos, and me over here, I'm going to put in a couple of dollars for the same pot. No. We have the most lucrative market in the world until China overtakes us, unless we stop them now, which is what we need. That's why we need the tariffs so badly, or they're going to overtake us, and they have overtaken us in certain industries and certain technologies. We can't let that happen. We have to be protective of our country, and the way to do that is tariffs, and it's all constitutional.
It's tariffs, and it's also about protecting the American consumer here as well. I know you know Greg Owens with Liberty Tabletop. I'm not sure if you know Bill Bullard of RCAF USA. But when we talk about the agriculture coming in here, that's another situation as well, because coming in from these other countries, they don't have all the safeguards that our farmers and ranchers have to abide by. And so we're getting a raw deal there as well. Plus the consumer is, they repealed the Cool Act because they don't think you have any need to know where that meat comes from. And I think the consumers definitely have the need to know and the right to know. So this encompasses so much in our lives here that I want everyone listening. It doesn't matter if you work at a factory or don't work at a factory or have a job or don't have. This is affecting the entire nation and really the world, but it's infecting the entire nation here.
Yeah, like I said with the Constitution, it all goes back to an equal application of the laws. All the laws should be applied equally everywhere. And we're not doing it, and that's why we're having the problems in the area you suggested. Another thing people talk about, well, it seems like the tariffs are hurting more than they're helping. I would have to mention that you mentioned the RCAF and the Liberty Tabletop, and me as well. I'm a member of the Coalition for a Prosperous America, and they did a study that said the ratio of job gains to job losses when the tariffs started is 20-1. So, no trade policy is not going to dislocate anybody anywhere. We're always going to have some kind of dislocation. But we want a trade policy that's fair for everyone, and then you let the chips fall where they may, and at least you're treating everybody fairly. And some people would say, well, we don't want to tax or tariff steel and aluminum because, we're helping a small group of people over here, but we're hurting a bigger mass of people everywhere else. Well, that could apply to you directly. Let's say that you work in government or for your company. That would mean that you would have to go to your company and say, look, can you lower my wages, because it's going to only impact me negatively, but you're going to be able to offer the product that I contribute to for a lower price for everybody else.
And I'm going to have to stop you there because we're out of time, Roger. This was wonderful. Thank you for coming back. We're going to have to do this again real soon. Definitely, as soon as you get the book out, we'll have you on again as well. You've been listening to CSE Talk Radio. Roger, thank you for what you do to fight for America. I appreciate it so, so very much. And I know my listeners do too, and I've really enjoyed the history lessons today, or reminders. We've been listening to CSE Talk. Oh, absolutely. You've been listening to CSE Talk Radio as we try together to bring America home.